Oh, that was exciting.
Well, I have to say that Emil, our control guy, and we're going to introduce the whole team in a second, did a very good job at setting up everything, right? And now we're live in front of a bunch of people, probably too many people. Jason, how are you, my man?
I'm happy that it started now. It's been a little bit of a stressful ride, of course, but we're super happy to finally get here. I mean, it's been a long journey this year, for sure.
And what do you guys think about the new studio setup? Do you like it? Do you like the light? Do you like what you see? This was actually, when we had the idea of bringing the D2 live to an online show, we actually started to look into all the things that were needed to make a proper show. And so we have hired a person that is actually in the control room. Emil, you want to get up so that we can introduce you? This is our star, Emil.
Say hi.
He's in charge of all the technical aspect. We have Christian, which is the sound guy, and also the guy that is behind all the organization. Please don't pull any cables. We're not showing it to you, but here there is sort of like a little jungle of
There's
cables.
no sound, apparently. Did I pull something out?
Oh, the sound is very low, apparently. Guys, they say that the sound is very low. No, I don't think that it's...
They say they have sound, can't hear it. Oops.
Okay.
We're going to fix this. Just give us a sec.
They're asking us to speak louder. I'm already so loud.
Yeah, I mean, we're wearing the mics right on our necks. I mean, yes. It should be like full scale vibration coming out of there. Anyway, I just, I'll try to talk as loud as possible. Tell me when it's too loud. We're so happy that all of you would join us this evening. It's with a little bit of displeasure to have to sit here with just Fabio. I mean, no hard feelings, man. We wish we could be with all of you, hanging out, having a few beers. But we figured we still have to do this, and we want to do it right. So we've gotten all this set up for you guys. And I don't know, how's the sound now? Is it better?
Yeah.
Okay, they're saying it's better. That's better. Awesome. Great. So,
okay,
I think, Fabio, let's introduce Britta. Let's introduce our next contestant.
He fucked it over. He fucked it up. It's all right, Like, that was that was the thing that we spent a lot of time preparing.
Online D2 talk of 2020. So, my name is Britta, and I will in this talk introduce you to some of my burning topics that I have discovered during my years in architectural visualization. I will show you some breakdown images, some stuff that makes me and Photoshop best friends. I will also try to inspire you with a new way of thinking in terms of daily work. So my main goal with this talk is that you should get out as much as possible. And I will share some stuff that for me, they are a big impact, made a big impact. So let's start. So I started Visulent 2 years ago, and I will now introduce you to this little world. This little world is, we can say, my small little bubble world, where I will show you some of my, what I'm really passionate about. So thank you for listening, and I will start right away. We will jump into this one. So I will start to ask, who are you? Maybe you are a person where everything flows at the moment. You are quite happy with where you are in your career. you feel that, yeah, it is pretty much flowing and you are happy. Or maybe you feel that, I can't handle this anymore. I'm almost about to quit this industry, everything. Or maybe you are eager and you are happy and you're passionate and you want to just learn more and more and more. Or maybe you are just the best. You feel that you are the best and no one else are as good as you. Yeah, they are probably pretty much losers, I guess, that you maybe think. And why is this important? And why do I ask this? It is important because how you feel often tend to turn into actions or how you behave and act towards others. You can choose to be a person that makes creativity flourish, or you could be a person that makes creativity, that lets creativity down. So, who am I and why should you be listening to me now? I have been into architectural visualization since 2012, but I started to learn Photoshop when I was like 12 or something. I have had a lot of different experiences, some wonderful and some, less wonderful, a little bit more challenging, I would say. Anyhow, all these different experiences have given me a lot of new stuff. I have developed a lot, and I have just felt that I really, really need to continue to discover this field. But the longer I worked, the longer I learned, or the more I learned, I just felt that, hey, I don't have any creative spark. I was supposed to be very creative in my role. I was supposed to take creative decisions. I was even supposed to guide other people, but somehow I just felt like a robot. And I asked myself, why is it like that? Why am I feeling like this? And I started to make a lot of research, it just felt wrong for me. And I had to do something about it. And I'm going to show you some images that I have done, just so you know a little bit of what I do and what I think about when I create images. One of the things that I really, really love when creating images is to work with the lighting. I love to have the lighting as a central in the image. And for me, maybe, and for me, it's like almost like a dance between the architecture and the lights, because they should feel as one. And I love to work with the details in the images and just to get like different flows in the images. And the important for me is that people actually feel when they see the images. And I'm also, as probably most of you guys are, in love with volumetric lighting also. Here we are on Iceland, and to get different depths in the image is something that I love. And also I love to create different irregular surfaces that makes it look realistic, but also makes it to get like that you almost like can feel the images. And I also like to create a little bit small stuff that are a little bit regular or not like, if, for example, some of these balls, you can see that they are flowing over the ground. It's like small stuff, but they are there for a reason, and maybe it's someone that dropped one of these balls and it's jumping, or maybe it's just some magic, or you know, all these small little details. And here we are looking at some different images, and we're going to continue. And I also love to create small stories in the whole image, to create different flows in the images where you can feel how people are moving, and you can feel that you can zoom into the images and you can find new stories in the images. And that's something that I love. We're going to look more into how, like before and after images and stuff like that later. But here you know a little bit of what I do. So, what was an eye-opener for me when I started to discover creativity, and what have it meant to me? I'm not a big fan of this eye. So let's see, yeah, it's better. Let's jump in. When I read this book, something happened to me, because I understood that this is, for me, very important. So it's a book about Per Robert Erlin, a Swedish guy. My conviction is that you cannot be creative and playful when you think you need to follow expectations, because then you act in line with these. If all just act and follow expectations, there are nothing that is shaking and opening up new paths in the brain. You can only find creative and playfulness when you go deep and dare to let things out, things that you do not really know how to land. The unexpected creates creativity. The confusion creates creativity. Children are creative because they have not yet understood that there are templates to follow. So when I read this, I just felt this is something that, for me, an eye-opener, and something that I want to dig more into. I want to understand it. And for me, it's like, how do I develop this into my daily work? And why didn't it work for me previously? And for me, like I said, without enthusiasm, there are no creativity. And an important thing is, don't hang out with people that dismiss your enthusiasm. Don't hang out with people that try to kill your ideas. And this is also, you could reverse it. Don't be that person that dismisses some else's ideas. Don't be that person, because you can destroy someone's creativity by letting someone else's ideas down. And also embrace each other and lift up each other. Creativity comes from when people are able to feel comfortable. And also, one very, very important thing is to have fun. And so one thing that Thomas Edison said, I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. And that's how I would like to see my working, and everything that I do. I need to try out, I need to try different things, because if I just follow other people's expectations, I will only go into this echo. And it's important also to dare to go outside your comfort zone. It's important to just don't care so much of what other people think about you. Do something crazy, do something new. A teacher to me once said that You could do something like just crazy, like go backwards to your one day to your job, or sing out loud, or just do something that creates new paths, and try to learn something new every day. It could be just something very simple like a script, or it could be a new word in another language, or it could be just to learn how to for example, why did I for example, draw something, or everything. It could be something very small or something very big. So don't get stuck in the first idea. This is something that is very important for us working, because it's so easy to just get stuck in the first idea. We have this idea and we want to do it. And maybe sometimes, as Edison said in our previous slide, sometimes it is the 10,000th idea that is the best one. And you don't want to lose that idea because you just got stuck in the first one. And one thing that I love is, you can see me here. One thing that I love is that you should take imagination seriously. You should take your dreams and your thoughts and your imagination seriously, because there's a lot there that you can use in your image creation. And never exclude other people's ideas. And explore the unknown, even if it feels uncomfortable. And for me, I'm still learning about this. I'm learning all the time, and I'm learning and exploring. And for me, this is a subject that I'm learning a lot about it, because it's so important. And it's important because what kind of work environment would you like to create at your place? So we often think about creativity in terms of the creation of our images, the final result of our images. And for me, that is, of course, that, but it's also a lot of more stuff. And we also have a lot of struggle with this question, because we are not the persons that makes the decision in our project when we work with the clients, because there's someone else that have already they have already a plan for the project, and I like to see it as I'm sewing someone else's suit. It is not my own suit, but it needs to fit perfect for that person that went into my store to buy it. And it needs to follow that person's main ideas. But I can give all my ideas, my expertise, my guidance. I can give all that I have that my client doesn't have. And sometimes I feel that some people just get stuck in their own ideas and do not really they get stuck in their own ideas and do not really try to explore what else that can be done in the project. So don't focus on the issue that the client don't want exactly the same as you. Try to focus on the solution instead. I like to see it as a challenge. Okay, I get these rules. How can I find a solution within that? For example, I get these rules. It should be a sunny image. It should be a lot of children playing. How can I make that as good as possible? I love to go into this role and to try to find my creativity in that role. because it gets much more fun when doing that. So we talk a lot about references. References are super good for learning and understanding images. They are super good for composition, lighting, color, matching, and to understand the reality. And also, of course, for seeing that you follow the right path. If you, for example, feel that you're a little bit messed up when you're creating the images, it's good with a reference. But sometimes I think it's so refreshing when you see an image that you feel like, hey, I haven't seen this before. This is something completely new, and it's super cool. And I would love to create that kind of images. I don't want to create images that I have seen 10,000 of times. Sometimes I do, because not all projects can be good, of course. But I like to try out new things. I like to explore. I like to try like quick sketches. For example, this is a project where it's like very, very rough and very quick. I tried out like matte painting and explored that a lot. Here you see some very, very quick images that are done by they are done by my phone. That's because of the weird ratio, and they are just super quick in some minutes, but it's nice to explore, nice to try new stuff. And this is another project where I tried like a more painterly style. And it's important to try, and not everything are good, but it's nice to just try to explore. And for the people that do know me, also know that I sometimes make some sketches like on my by hand, and I also try to, for example, explore drawings and also aquarelle and stuff like that. It's fun to explore, and it's fun to try new stuff, because everything that we do every day, it's easy to just get stuck into that. So what do you desire to do? I would challenge you to take the time to do it. It's so easy to say, oh, I don't have the time. I do have this project now. I do need to go out with my dog, or be nice to my partner or my child or everything. But it's important to just not postpone your ideas all the time. Take the time to just do it and decide to do it. So, welcome back to this small little world of bubbles. I don't know if I like them or not. I think I like them. Because I like what's inside them. So we jump into this, and this is before and after Photoshop. And Photoshop for me, it's like my magic tool. It's something that's, for the people knowing Photoshop, it knows what the magic tool does. It just exists. It's not that easy, but it still makes the job sometimes. Some images here will be just before and after. Some will show step by step, and some early drafts and stuff like that. I usually, when I start with a project, I make a very, very quick render. So in this case, it's not even a render. It's only print screen with these boxes. I make it very quickly in 3D Specs, and then I make a print screen of it, take it into Photoshop, and start to bring up my ideas. It's very, very rough, but it's for me to remember what ideas I want to create in the image. And for me, it's also because when I do it in Photoshop, I'm so much more free than if I do it in 3D. And that's, of course, very personal. But in this project, I my ideas was that I wanted fog, and I wanted this blizzard, and a lot of people going, but they should have a little bit of trouble going in the snow. And I wanted this red sign. This red sign was something that it feels a little bit New Yorky also, where this is meant to be. And I also wanted a snowy truck. So this is like, I usually just sketch very quickly, like maybe we can do this, maybe this, maybe this. And then I work in 3D, but yeah, this is the final raw render. Sometimes, you know, you do have like a lot of assets, and or I do have a lot of assets because I keep on saving a lot of Photoshop assets, and it's very good because it's already photographed, so I can use them in my image. I don't need to model everything up again, and that's, I know I get some people hating me when saying that, probably, but it's not that important for me. The importance for me is the end result. So this is another project where we worked with landscape architects, and in this case, this is the final image, and this is the first draft that the client got. And it's kind of rough and it's kind of small, but we still had a main idea that we wanted the light to go through, and we wanted a lot of people on this city square. And yeah, and as you can see here, the trees are mainly of them are put in 3D. Here you can see the raw render of the 3D for the first draft. So here is with Photoshop, and here is with the first draft. So you can see here it's not that much Photoshop made in it. It's just some people. So, but the thing that you can see here, we do have 3D trees, we do have 3D people, but then we remove them because we think it's so much more nicer with 2D people and 2D greenery. So we add stuff like that into Photoshop. And this is the second draft that the client got. And in this case, we worked with landscape architects. And for the persons that have worked with landscape architects knows that sometimes it gets a little bit, yeah, they want specific trees and stuff like that. And for us, that's nice also because we love to have a big library of greenery and stuff like that. And we also photograph our people a lot. And some people ask us that, oh, it's so time consuming to photograph the people, and it's time consuming to always kind of cut them out and stuff like that. But actually, Photoshop gets better and better on AE stuff also. If you want to have tips, one thing that I use a lot that came like in maybe 2018 Photoshop, it's a thing called select subject. And if you want, you can write that one down if you haven't used it, but you can find it under the magic wand tool. This time we will not have, in this talk this time, we will not have the time to go into all the details, so I will not show you, but you can find everything online. So if you remember select subject in Photoshop, it's a very quick way of cutting out people. Sometimes it works excellent, and sometimes you need just some handmade or hand details. And and the final image looked like this. So in this step, from the second draft to the final, it's not that much. It's some trees and some people moving, but that's how we would like it. And I also, you see, I changed the shadow. I thought it was nicer to have this area kind of free and not with a lot of tree shadow that was in this draft, because here you almost got more focus over here, and this area is kind of stuck with a lot of stuff. So I thought it was nice to see all these paths into the image that the light leads. And it's also important to think about, why do you choose some people in the image? It's both important because of the lighting and the color, but also the movement and the story. What do you want to create? What kind of people would you like to be in the space? And here you see the raw render of the final image. And here you can see that we have removed the 3D trees. We have removed a lot of 3D stuff because it actually looks better in Photoshop. So we work like between Photoshop and 3ds Max a lot, bump back and forth, back and forth. So we do not only just go into Photoshop as a end part. We see it as in the whole image creation from the beginning, and that's also a thing that I think some people wonder how to do. And one thing that I also would like to suggest is another thing that you can write down. It's linked layers in Photoshop. If you work in smart objects, you can use linked layers, and that's super good. Another thing when creating images is that it's very, very easy to get stuck in the small pieces. You get stuck in, for example, how that person, you see that person, or maybe you don't even see that car far in the image, but you want it to have the right material in 3D. But sometimes you get stuck on the wrong things. That's not that important for the whole image. And one thing that I do suggest to use is a thing that's called Focus Keeper. It's one thing that was developed in the 1990s, and it's a thing called Pomodoro. And you actually get to work with one thing in 25 minutes, and then a timer will ring, and you need to stop working with that. You need to take 5 minutes break, and then you need to get another task. So you have all these different tasks. Okay, I will do this, and I have 25 minutes to do that, and then the phone, the application will call or ring, and you will do something else. So that's called the Focus Keeper, Pomodoro. It's an app. It's very, very good if you don't want to get stuck into wrong ideas or wrong details. And here you see how we start with photoshopping even long before the 3D is done. And we have these 3D trees and stuff like this, but we remove them and replace them with 2D trees. And here I had some idea that I wanted to create some kind of story with this girl sitting with a bird in the water here, but I just felt it was way too cheesy, so it went away. And another thing that's common in all my images is that you see my husband. He gets to to be in all the images, because I guess when I ask him very, very nicely, he stands up with me when I when I need people in my images. So this is the final render. So it's very, like, the trees are gone, but you still get the shadows from the trees. It's very, it's kind of rough if you ask some people that works a lot with 3D. But for me, it works much better if I replace with the stuff in Photoshop. And we continue. This is another project, and I love to create this walking path you follow into the image. And as I said earlier, I want people to feel something when they watch the image, and that's probably one thing that we all want, right? I guess it's important, and that's also why we do images, right? So one thing that I do suggest here is the raw or the raw render, and you can see that it's something changed in Photoshop. It's I even grabbed the building and made it a little bit wider because I thought it would make the image better, and I made the whole ratio a little bit wider. So I built it up a little bit because it looked nicer. And I also even added the shadow in Photoshop, or the reflections in Photoshop, and some shadow also. This is a way of working that works very good for me. I know it's not good for everyone, but I like to work this way. And another thing that I really suggest you do in Photoshop is to actually create your own actions. You could create actions that makes almost everything, and it's almost like scripts or plugins, or not plugins, but it's almost like script in 3ds Max. To do actions in Photoshop, you can make a much quicker workflow. So get into actions also and write it down if you like to. And also Camera Raw. Camera Raw is a very, very good thing. So there you had some tips, and it was a lot of information in short time, but I wanted you to be able to get some tips that maybe fit you. Good. So we're gonna jump forward. So I sometimes get the question if it's hard to be a woman in a man-dominated industry. I know this is a well-spoken subject and also a tough one. And because it's tough, I think it's important to also bring it up here. For me, this should not be an issue. And it should not be an issue because we have the same rights. We do have the same value. My salary should not be determined my salary, of course, should be determined for my effort, my work, and my quality. And if someone tries to tell me something else, I usually show them. I try to tell them what rights I do have. And it means a lot of work, and it means to stay strong. And probably some of you are thinking, oh, that's easy for you to say because you are from Sweden. And I know it is a big advantage. For me, it's important to be chosen because what I do and not because of my gender. I should be chosen because of my result and that I work hard. And we should show respect to the people around us, regardless of gender or ethnicity. At one of my previous jobs, someone found out and told me that, hey, Britta, you are actually one of the youngest girls at the office, and you are probably one of the youngest of everyone. And you are the only girl in your group. And for me, that was like, I should take advantage of this. Okay, I'm the youngest one, but I should show them that I can do as good, or maybe in some ways also be better than the older and more experienced. And it means a lot of work, but it's also worth that work. So it's very, very important to remember that we are strong, everyone are strong, and everyone have the same value. And it's super important, and it's important to remember to treat everyone with the same value. And science even show that diversity in groups creates better and more creative ideas. Yeah. And what's up next? I'm going to talk a little bit about Visulent, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what's next and what we are thinking about in terms of creativity. Just like a very, very quick one in the end. And also, who are Visulent? Maybe someone asks. And Visulent are me and my wonderful colleague, Emilia. And soon in some weeks or so, we are going to be 2 more. So we are excited, and for me it's very important to not grow big. It's important to remember the main focus ideas, and that will probably, that's something that that's so important, and it's important to for me it's important to stay with my main thoughts. So we'll see. And the balance between the work and the creativity, that's something that, as I said, I want to, even if we are fully booked, I want to be able to still have the creativity. And this was something that I challenged a lot with, because you can have the creativity in your projects also. That's probably the best way of learning new stuff in the project, but it's also important to be able to try this new stuff. And a friend of mine in a total different field, she told me that her company had a thing that called lab days. And lab day is a day where you should only focus on one thing that you want to discover. So even if you have a project, you should say to the project to the client that, oh, sorry, I'm booked, because the lab day should be a day where you are able to discover something that you're aiming to discover. And it could be whatever. It could be something, it could be a new script, or something with 3D, but it could also be, for example, try to draw something new, or just maybe you would like to go out and photograph something, or you would like to try out a new program, or you would like to, you just need maybe to walk outside. You maybe just need to do something without any expectations. And that's okay also. So it should be a day where you are able to do whatever you want. And that's something that we are aiming to have, to be able to still discover. And it's important to always try to challenge yourself, always try to see what's on the other side, and always try to be better. And the last thing I would like to say, remember to have fun, because we have a wonderful field to work in. Architectural visualization for me is a wonderful job, and sometimes it's not wonderful, of course. Sometimes it's horrible, and it's horrible with all the deadlines and everything. But it's important to not take it so seriously. It's important to always have fun. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to me. And if you want to reach out to me right now after to ask some questions or something, I would gladly answer if I can. Or if you want to contact me somehow, you are able to do so also at, for example, visulent.se or on our Instagram, Visulent. Thank you.
Britta, this was amazing.
Thank you, Britta.
Thank you.
Britta, we really liked it.
Thank you. I will see if I can get my
Your
screen
image back.
Yeah, let's see.
If not, we can at least see your name.
Yeah,
That's better
that's
than
nice.
nothing.
But anyway, Britta, we have asked people to send us questions. We basically run out a little bit of time. Now we're going to take a 5 minutes break. We're not going to leave. People are going to be able to see us whilst we prepare and cue the next speaker.
Okay.
But I think this was a fantastic talk. You are
I'm
full of
very, very
talent.
glad.
We're full of talent, and I keep telling you that every single time that we have a chance to chat and talk. I had very high expectations for your talk, and I read in the comments people were blown away despite the technical difficulties.
That's our fault.
Which I think are like, the characterizing part of a live stream.
Yeah.
So
Everything's running smooth now, so we hope that will continue. I really appreciate you joining us. I'm sorry I let the cat out of the bag a little too soon at the beginning of the feed. I'm not going to tell you that our next guest is named Abraham Lincoln, and he's had a lot of great speeches. I mean, I did it again. No, but thank you, Britta, so much. I don't know, Fabio,
thank you for having me.
Do we have something else?
No, nothing else. There are no questions coming in. I would say, Britta, thanks a lot again for taking the time to talk to us. We're going to cue the next speaker. Jason, don't say who that is.
Abraham.
We're going to take a 5 minutes break. People, don't leave us. You can continue watching us. We're gonna be working on our computers, basically. That's all you're gonna see.
Sounds
Britta,
familiar.
Thanks a lot again for talking to us.
You.
We wish you a beautiful night. And everybody from home, please just bear with us. We're gonna set up the next speaker, and we will see each other in about 5 minutes. Britta, good night, and thanks a lot for doing this.
You have to. I think you got a schedule, but act like you didn't see it. Stick around and find out who's next. All right. Thank you, Britta.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Okay, so back in 5, guys and ladies.
Okay.
All right.
Should we do it?
Yes, let's do it.
Are we live?
I think we're live.
Shut up.
Okay.
I love that. I love that. This is like I love that
Okay.
this is just one mistake after the other, you know? You can really tell this is the first time that we're doing
I
this,
think-
and we're trying to do it as different as possible.
Yeah.
What do you think? How did the first session go?
I think by Friday, the last session, we're gonna nail this thing. It's gonna be so awesome. We're gonna have everything worked out.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully by the last show, we're going to do something good.
Yeah.
Okay, should I introduce the next speaker?
Yes, I'm not gonna say anything this time. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
He is named like a Serbian basketball player that is retired. That's a funny thing. I was like Googling stuff about him. He's an artist and designer from Slovenia. He's been working in this field for about 15 years. You can hear the kids now talking because he wanted them to have them with him. His work has been widely published and he was selected as one of 3D artists' top 100 influential and talented artists in the world. He's a longtime friend of the D2 and he's here tonight to share his story with us. Ladies and gentlemen, Dušan Vukčevič. Dušan! Good evening!
Hey, we're live. Hey,
Wave.
how you guys doing?
All
Wave,
good.
everybody.
We're doing
Wave, everybody. You wanted to bring my family along, you know, to say hi to
It's
everybody.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay.
I love your family.
I love them too. Believe me, I do.
But your wife wants to go.
Yeah. Okay, small.
Thank you
Okay.
for
You're on.
coming and showing.
Good night.
Thanks
Yeah.
to your family for stopping by as well.
All right.
So
I
Dušan,
need. Yeah.
I
go
think
on.
that we're not going to spend too much time chatting with you now. We'll get you at the end of the presentation.
Sure.
So are you ready to go?
I'm all ready.
Oh, and let me just remind
Sorry, yeah.
people that if they want to ask you a question, we have put a email address to which they can send these questions. And if the questions are intriguing enough for us, we can also invite people on the show so that they can ask the questions themselves. Obviously, send the questions before the lecture is over, not at the end, because we got a couple of questions for Britta at the very end.
And
If it's possible, send them beforehand.
And please, as well, pants are not required, but only if we can't see, the bottom half. So if we're gonna see full body, we need pants.
all right.
This is a YouTube.
Yeah.
This is a family channel. Okay.
Yeah, and guys,
okay.
don't be shy.
All right.
Just go on with the question, whatever. It's a nice chance to be online on D2.
It's a Christian
Yeah.
channel.
Yeah. Okay. So Dušan, go ahead and start your presentation,
The
and I will
virtual
make sure
stage is yours, Dušan.
I'll make sure everything's set up.
All right, you can see my screen, right? All right, so I'm gonna just start off with playing my demo reel. Here we go.
Yeah, there, now we have sound.
Okay, thanks. All right, that was my demo reel. Most of the stuff I do all kinds of stuff. I'll show you later. But first, I want to talk about. This is my second time I'm on D2. So basically, is it on? Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Probably my fault. So I was speaking at D2 a couple of years ago, and it really changed a lot of things for me. First and foremost, it was a great experience. Then I met a lot of new friends. And after that, a lot of things seemed to be happening. First and foremost, I met this guy called Dimitar, and he invited me to a digital drawing days in Arezzo. So I spoke there. After that, I was at the Slovenian Creative Workshop in Ljubljana. After that, I've been a Cinema 4D user for a long time and a beta tester as well. And Maxon invited me to their conference in Dubrovnik, Croatia. Then I was in Florence, invited by Vanessa Mercante-Boyd. I was at ABC in Amsterdam doing the live stream. After that, I was in Cinema Super Meet in Frankfurt. I was part of the 3D motion and design tour in Madrid, in Lisbon, and in Prague with my friend Glenn Frey. And lastly, I was in Belgrade, Serbia, for the CGA. So really want to thank Maxon for all the things they've done for me. And also, I was part of this awesome book. It's called Great Talks About Photorealism by Bogdan Sasu. Make sure you pick it up. Part 2 is coming soon. I'm honored to be part of this amazing team of people. So most of the gang got together, and we were in Bucharest, Romania, for the Untold Story, the Archivist meetup. So it all came down to D2, really. It all started with my D2 talk, and then everything happened since then. So I really can't thank enough Jason, Fabio, Christian, and the rest of the D2 team for everything you guys have done for me. So yeah, thank you. So I'm just going to go ahead and start. What I'm going to be doing today is, well, actually, I'm not going to be doing this. And I'm not going to be doing that either. Listen, I've been in this business for quite a while, and I was thinking, how can you benefit the most from my talk? What can I tell you and show you that you can use in your workflow and whatever? So I was thinking maybe it's best if I just talk from my experience, talk for what worked, what didn't, and I hope you pick something up, something useful. A few things about me. I live in Slovenia. I started off, I have a degree in economics. I started off as an accountant, realized that was not something I wanted to do. So I decided to quit and to learn CG on my own, Photoshop and stuff, because I really enjoyed that. And yeah, look at that. I look exactly the same. The easy life of an archivist artist. So anyway, I couldn't find any job for a long time, so I struggled. I worked all kinds of jobs just to to get some money so I can learn. Eventually got a job in doing 2D animation, broadcast animations. I wanted to add some more 3D elements into my workflow, so I started figuring out 3D, and I started with 3ds Max, and the whole new world opened up to me because I saw the limitless power of 3D software. So after that, I worked at the studio, being a 3D generalist, and after that, I started my own thing. Now, if you're starting up and if you're on your way up and struggling, believe me, it's normal that you struggle. Everybody struggles. It takes a lot of, you have to make a lot of sacrifices. You have to take risks. There's a lot of perseverance and a lot of pain, but it's worth it in the end. So if you're struggling, if you're trying hard, just keep going. It's going to happen. Eventually, it's going to work out. So that's the only advice I can give you if you're starting up. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it doing your own thing, doing what you love. So I want to talk a bit about the transitions that I did. I want to talk about the first transition was from being an accountant to being a CG artist. Then a second transition was basically from being a 2D artist to the 3D artist. So I learned a lot of stuff from working with other people, but I didn't even know anybody who was into 3D. So I had to learn a lot from on my own, basically learning, doing tests, experiments. There were no tutorials online at the time, and also wanted to learn V-Ray. So there's this guy and his book, and I get all warm and fuzzy when I see this. I mean, yeah, it was tough. It was really tough. I had to, open the book and try to replicate stuff in 3D and go back inside and something doesn't work, you have to go over to the start. It's a really tedious process, but it remained in my good memory because this was the only way I could learn. And you tend to forget the bad things and remember the good things in life. So this is definitely a good memory. And learning today is completely different, I think. There's so many resources you can learn from. It's even, I think the struggle is finding the good resources you can learn from. And I think I'm glad that you don't have to, software is becoming so much easier to use. It's very much more intuitive, user-friendly. So you don't have to struggle with the tools, and you can focus much more on the artistic, creative part of the projects and work. And I think that's a really good thing. The second transition I made was from motion design to ArchViz. And I have to be honest with you, I never had any like grand plans, any plans whatsoever. Things just happened, right? So what I did was, you're going to be bad at some things in life, no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, and you're going to be good at some things, okay? So you should focus on the good things, and you should focus on, and you can't do everything, right? You can't do all the things you're good at. So you have to pick the things that you're good at and you think that has the most chance at doing them, and really commit to them and really focus on them. And that's what I did. And that's how I ended up in the ArchViz industry. I just liked looking at people's renders and seeing realistic renders. And I was curious, how do you do those realistic renders? And I slowly saw a lot of, I tried a couple of those ArchViz renders, and I really enjoyed the process. I really enjoy creating them, the feeling you make somewhat realistic renders. And so I started doing more and more of those, and I started posting them online, and clients started coming in and asking me, if I want to work with them. The problem was I had no idea about architecture. I had no idea about interior design. So what I did was I was honest with them. I just told them, listen, I'm not an architect. I have no idea about interior design. So, but I really want to do this. I really want to do it, and give me a chance and work with me, help me out a little bit. And they appreciated my honesty, and they wanted to work with me. And I'm really grateful for that. And they helped me out with some floor plans and stuff. And this is how I basically learned all the ArchViz stuff and architecture and interior design. And I'm still learning. It all started basically with, one project at a time, one design at a time. It's a slow process, but it's definitely worth it. And if I was an architect, would it help? Of course it would. I wouldn't have to learn a lot of stuff, but I tend to think that people with different backgrounds have unique work. I don't know, or maybe, I don't know. So the last time I was speaking at D2, a lot of people came up to me and asked me if I still live in the middle of nowhere. That's something I was talking about back then. And it was interesting that people remember that. So yeah, I still live there. It's in the south of Slovenia. It's called Bela Krajina. And it's, I had options to go and work to, America, UK, Germany, China, but I decided to stay. It turned out to be a really good idea, especially since we had our two daughters. It's a great place for them to grow up. A river is within a walking distance. School is very nearby. Big cities are close. Ocean is close. So I really enjoy the remote work. What I also enjoy is being flexible all the time. So, I did never like 9-to-5 work, never. And sometimes I'm very productive and sometimes I'm not. That is never at the same time. So I really enjoy being flexible just for that reason. And also I enjoy having like a breakfast and lunch and dinner with my family and playing with my kids in the afternoon and work at night or early in the morning. It just doesn't really matter when. So that's something I really enjoy. And I also do not miss traveling. I used to travel like 2 hours to get to work. And that was first thing, it's very time consuming. The second thing, it's very exhausting. I do miss studio environment where you meet other artists and talk to other artists, but I tend to do it online when I can. And it's all about time management. I know people struggle, people who work from home really struggle with that, because it's not easy to set your priorities, you know, to really focus on the priority of a task. And what I do is I set my goals, like daily goals and weekly goals, and I really focus on them and do the things that are important. And it takes a lot of discipline, and it takes time to get used to it. But I definitely think it's worth it. So one thing that happened is there's a thin line between inspiration and distraction. I used to mix those two a lot, and because I was always thinking I was doing the research. For instance, I was playing games and I was thinking I'm doing the research, but in reality, I was wasting a lot of time. So I quit gaming completely just because I didn't want to waste any more time. I wanted to focus on my work, and I miss it, but what can you do? The second thing, I used to watch a lot of movies. I don't watch those movies anymore. I watch movies, of course I do, but not so many. There's really specific ones I like to watch, and I like old school horror films and sci-fi, and I really like to use them as an inspiration. So I will go in and play a movie and press pause and really explore the whole image, the image that I froze, in the composition, the light, the whole environment. I try to learn as much as I can from it. So it's great fun watching movies with me. You can ask my wife; she'll tell you all about it. But yeah, seriously though, it's really it's important that you save those things. The photographs you do, everything that inspires you, you have it in one place. Otherwise, if you go on wandering looking for inspiration, you just lose a lot of time. Days can go by looking for inspiration. I read a lot of books. I love Stephen King books. I like the fact that you imagine the faces, imagine the places, from your head, unless you've already seen the movie that was based on a book. So make sure you read the book and then watch a movie. That's important. I like all kinds of art books. I like business books that help me along the way really a lot. And there's a few that I listed here that I really like, and I like to go back to them and, reread certain chapters. And especially when I started up, they helped me a lot. There's some stuff you just can't know, and there's so much knowledge in those books. So you should be reading. You should be reading a lot. Music. This is something I could not, stop doing, because I'm doing this music for a long time, and I've been playing this flute for years and doing writing music and all that stuff. Actually, I play bass in that metal band, and this joke is getting really old. I got to think of a new one. But, I think in life, you shouldn't take yourself too seriously. You should, relax and be yourself. That's important, and not care what other people think. So music is definitely something that it's creative, but it's differently creative. So playing the shows and working is totally different. So I want to talk a bit about tools. Yeah, artist does all the work. The tools are just tools, but it's super important that you choose the right tools for you. For instance, I started working with 3ds Max, then I shifted to Cinema 4D. I tried it and I really liked it. I liked the way it's set up. Everything seems to make more sense to me, and I'm much faster using it. Although I enjoyed working in 3ds Max. So it's important that you find the right tools for you, for your workflow, not something that everybody else uses, right? There's this practice I did a long time ago. I wanted to figure out which render engine is the best for me. So I did this little test for this simple scene. I want to see which one was the best. A lot of my friends came in helping with the settings and everything. It was a really fun project. And in the end, what did I figure out? Which render engine was the best? Well, actually, many render engines, or 5 of them that I used at the time, I couldn't just pick one because they're very specific for specific tasks. And this is actually hard to explain, but I get a brief for a project, and then I decide which one I want to use. But the general rule of thumb is I have my computer is faster in GPU, so if I have animations, I will go with Redshift and Octane that are GPU based. And once you decide which tools are you going to use, well, mastering is a bit of a strong word, so I think it's knowing how to use them quickly is more appropriate, because it's all about for me, it's like all about the uninterrupted work. So when I get into the zone, either I'm working for a client project or I'm working on my personal project, it's all about, working uninterrupted. And for instance, I don't know how to use a tool and really in the drive. So I have to go online, look for a tutorial and come back knowing how to use it. And that drive, that momentum is gone. So it's important for me to really know how to use those tools so I can have a smooth workflow. And so the personal project is something I always talk about. Anywhere I go, you'll see me talking about personal projects, about how important they are for your personal development, how important they are for your portfolio. But what we don't talk about is the excuses. So we all make excuses, me included, and it's always no time, no ideas, not in the mood, not inspired. And I can tell you, there's really no excuse. You can find answers for anything. Like, if you don't have time, I bet you're doing things that are really not important and are not helping you in your career. If you really work all day long, I'm sure you have 30 minutes or 1 hour a day. That doesn't sound like much, but in the course of a couple of months, you'll see a huge progress. I can promise you that. When you don't have an idea what to do, the last thing you want to do is go online and look for inspiration, references, whatever. Like I said before, you have to have this folder and be ready for that. Pick inspiration and references every day, all day, but not when you have to start the projects. But also, what I like to do is when I have no idea what I have to do, what I want to do, I just start. So I start with a blank scene, start creating. I don't like it, delete it, start over, delete again. And eventually I come to a point that I have something useful and I start working on that. I get excited about project. And that's how the project really starts evolving. And if I ever get stuck, I'm not sure how to continue, I like to work on multiple personal projects and I just shift between them, right? And one thing that's very important for me is like, you get like here's an example. You get a client and says, okay, we like this project. We want something on the same level of quality. Can you do that for us? And you have to say, oh yeah, but that took me 2 months. Now, that doesn't work for me. That's a no-go for me. All my projects in my portfolio, I can do them very quickly and I can do them the same level of quality for my clients. So we have to practice those tools and be creative all the time. And what I like to do also is add different approaches, right? Different approaches to creating different projects because you want to challenge yourself, because you want to be ready for client projects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this with a couple of examples. So I was at my friend's house and he had this little tiny mouse that was really cute. I wanted to model it. I modeled it. I wanted to work some more on it. And I ended up with this whole concept thing, steampunk theme. And I really liked how I fell into the mood and how I couldn't stop working on it. And this is one of the first publications I got in VW Art Club. And it's really, that's when I started thinking, I got to do more of this stuff, got to do more of different things. So since I didn't know much about interior design, I said, okay, but I'm willing to take risks. I've been taking risks for a while now, so why not? So cozy bed, rough industrial interior, and these sci-fi elements you see there from like a spaceship from a sci-fi movies, everything together. And I was like thinking, I don't know if this works or not, but I'm going to post this. It turned out to be a pretty successful project. ended up in a 3D Artist magazine, in Digital Production magazine. So take risks. Don't think about what other people will say. You'll make a mistake. Next time, try again. You'll make a mistake again, make a better mistake. And you can't do all the same things all the time. You gotta be, do different things. And I start projects on different. Sometimes I start projects getting ideas from others. For instance, clients sent me greetings cards, holiday greetings cards, and I wanted to, I wanted to reply with a greeting card, but I have nothing. I want to do something creative, so I started a project, did this, sent it to them, decided to share it online, and this thing also ended up in a magazine. So yeah, weird. Sometimes it's really surprising how things work. And I continue this tradition of doing the holiday renders, using different renders like Corona render, and the latest one is with Redshift and X particles. So, and one thing that's also important, you should never shy away from opportunities. So a good friend of mine, John Robson, he's a director and 3D artist, asked me if I don't want to work with him on his new short film called Connect. And, I don't even think about it. I just say, yes, of course I want to do it. I want new challenges. I want to try new stuff. And so I did a couple of shots for the short film. Make sure you check out his stuff. Don't shy away. Just, take risks. You're going to get yourself in trouble so much, but, in the end, it's worth it. So photography, I think every 3D artist should be a photographer. Because you really learn so much, especially if you want to do realistic renderings. I like to look at a lot of photographs online, like and online and in books and everywhere. Not so much renders, but photographs, and really look at the way the light works, the way it enters the room, the way it makes shadows and everything. And what I like to do is I find a nice photograph that I like, and I try to replicate it in 3D. I don't copy it directly. I just try to see what the photographer was doing, the way he placed the camera, the way he captured the light, the way he captured the shadows. It's a really, really good practice, and I really recommend doing it. Here's another example. It's so many things that you don't, when you look at the image, the photograph, there's so many things you do not consider. But when you start working on it and start replicating it, there's so many new things you learn. So very good practice. A good practice is also to, have random, assets that you want to start working with. So Christoph Schindler from RD Textures sent me, said, hey man, I got a couple of leaves scanned. If you want to do something. So, okay. So I make this a starting point to my new project. Like simple things, small things like these leaves here, high quality though. And I finish with this, like this huge scene. And this was the motivation and the drive for the whole project, were those scanned leaves. So always trying different things. So I'm going to play this first. So a lot of times I did a lot of animations at MC embed. So I used a lot of I started using X particles and Forester to make things more alive. And here's another example. I wanted to make constraints to what I do. So I made this simple scene, a couple of pieces of furniture, nothing special. And the challenge that I made for myself was, I want to make this. I want to make an animation, and I would have to challenge myself to find the nice camera angles, nice compositions, and try to make an animation. And this is what I came up with. So constraints are important because you get constraints when you work with client projects. Here's an example, Studio Arhin. We worked with together on this project, really beautiful house design. So at some point, I wanted to do something different. So I raised the camera up like it's in a drone shot or something. And I wanted to, I placed these trees around, they're huge. And the verticals are not straight. So it's not a typical ArcVis render, but we kind of liked it. And we decided to post it, to share it. So what happened was it blew up on the internet, like Pinterest, Instagram, millions of likes, millions of shares. Like we were blown away by the reception. And, you really don't have idea why this happens. So for instance, I make a project and I really like it. And I think this is going to go big. This is going to be huge. And I post it online and, there's one guy that says, hey, nice job. Thanks. It's just weird. And sometimes you just go and post something that you think it's okay. And it blows up. So the best thing you can do, I think, or the only thing you can do is continue working. Just keep working and don't think about these things. What will work? What will get you, likes and shares and whatever. These things happen randomly. So just keep working. But the important thing is do not go into the autopilot. Do not do the same old thing all the time, right? Because if you do the same old thing, nothing will change. You have to always change the pace, change the direction, change the ideas. Okay, so all the stuff that's happened was really always mind-blowing to me. And like, what the hell is going on? I don't even know how this happened. And the good thing that happened was I never cared about these things. I just continued working, and they happened. So focus on your work and don't focus on all the other stuff that's happening around it. This stuff just happens, okay? And about the marketing, I never really liked, showing my stuff, especially it kind of feels narcissistic, oh, look what I can do and stuff like that. So that was always a bit of a problem for me, but you have to market yourself, you weren't going to get a job. So what I always did was create the best project I can, post it online and hope for the best. And I was lucky. This was the only thing I ever did to get jobs. The only thing, never did anything else, just post projects and then I got clients. So when you're working with clients, so if you're doing the practice, like I mentioned, so you're practicing your tools, you're very fast, you're challenging yourself, you're ready for challenges. So you really finish the projects very quickly and the client has less stress because of that. And you have less stress because of that. And it's an overall good experience for everybody. So really always be creative, always create, always be in the zone. And it's important that you build those relationships with them clients, because when the client is happy with your work and you did everything on time, they're going to be a returning client. My example is Humdinger company from Minneapolis, Minnesota. They work all kinds of work from marketing strategies to animation to advertising. And we worked on a couple of projects, 3D projects, and they have a really impressive client base. And so we worked, that's the team. I work with these guys. And we really clicked working on one of those projects, and we started working on again and on another project. And we wanted to separate the 3D from all the other stuff. So we started a Humdinger 3D, and we focus on smart things, smart cameras, smart speakers, and all the smart things. And we really cool projects, create realistic renderings, product renders, and placing them into environments. I really enjoy doing those. And we also experiment a lot, doing a lot of these testing projects. So make sure you check it out on social media. What I really love is, I love presenting and I love teaching. I love teaching in schools and universities. I do that occasionally. And I do tutorials on my Patreon. And it's kind of a way of me giving back to the community. I've learned so much from other artists and from the community, so this is my way of giving back. And to recap everything here, is basically, if you want to follow, you really want to follow what you love, it's really worth it. I mean, you can't spend your life doing something you don't like doing. It takes hard work. It's, you have to learn all the time, and it's important that you create all the time. Spend your time wisely. And if you're working remotely now, consider working remotely from now on, because I think it's really good, and build relationships with your clients. And in the end, it's all about the balance. So many stuff happening. What I do is I'm always trying to be focused. When I work, I focus on my work 100%, finish it, go out, spend time with my family, and when I'm with my family, I'm 100% with them, and and friends, and whatever you do, it always takes this. Always be mindful about things, and don't waste time too much, because time, there's just not many hours in a day that you can waste. So this time it was online. Next year, I really hope me and the rest of the Slovenian team can hop on the train to Vienna, so we can spend time together there again. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you again, Christian, Jason, Fabio, the whole D2 team. This was a lot of fun, and I didn't even have anything to drink. So I guess that's it. We're back to studio.
Thank you so much. Let me just double check that everything's working here. You guys, can you hear me? Everything good? Okay, perfect. So if you can stop sharing your screen, and then we can jump back into double mode. Yeah, I gotta do a little work here. Maybe show self view. Oh my God, this is like, of course, like oh, there we go, beautiful. Okay, so I really appreciate you joining us. I have to say, I wanted to give you an extra shout because you joined us also on Saturday when we were setting up, and provided us with a lot of help. Apparently you did not do a very good job, because you saw how terribly it started, and I think it's your fault, actually, because of everything that happened. No, Dušan,
we should call it
I know.
DD2. The first D stands for Dušan.
No, but really, thank you so much for that help that you gave us.
Yeah, no
that
problem.
day.
Do we have a little bit of time to invite Ilaria on the show? Send me the invitation link.
So we're gonna do a little. Gonna have to do it. Oh, but we're gonna show everybody.
No, copy invite link.
Yeah, but how am I gonna send it to you?
Oh. We did not think that through. It's okay. I don't think that it's.
I think it's my fault again.
We're gonna.
Hold on, because
We're gonna see if we can get our first guest on here to ask you a question, because she had a really good question.
She had a very good question,
for you.
and she was very thankful for your talk.
Oh, and I'm thankful for everybody watching. That's really cool. I didn't monitor how many people are watching, but if a couple of people are watching, I'm very thankful.
It's
Do you
quite
want
a
to
few.
know? Do you want to know?
It's quite a few.
It was over 400.
Oh wow!
So
Thanks, guys.
Which I think it's
Cheers
probably
with water.
our best so far. Huh?
yeah, definitely.
Anyway, Dušan, I think that this was a very refreshing talk. I thought that it was very inspiring also to hear,
you.
A breath of positivity, because these are not some of the best times that our industry has seen. And one other reason why we decided to bring the D2 online, it's because when we canceled it, a lot of people reached out to us and said, you know what, even though it makes us sad, it's a good thing that we're getting the refund of our ticket, because we got hit pretty bad by, losing jobs and everything. And so we thought, okay, maybe if there is one thing that we can do to make the life of others better, is to make this event for free. But anyway, Ilaria is on the show.
So Ilaria, do you have headphones, perhaps?
Okay, maybe if there is one thing that we can do.
Do you have headphones?
Make the life of others better, is to make this event for free. But anyway, Ilaria is on the show.
Ilaria, do you have headphones, perhaps?
Okay.
Give me a second.
No problem. This is awesome.
Ilaria is on the show.
Ilaria, do you have headphones, perhaps?
Give me a second.
No problem. This is awesome.
It's just an inception of voices.
Exactly.
It's like happening over and over.
Did we solve the problem?
So Ilaria, I can still hear, I think, the video in the background.
Yeah, there is. Maybe mute the video.
Now we have you.
Oh, wait. No.
Can Ilaria, can you unmute yourself now? And I think,
Yes.
Okay, now it's
yes,
perfect.
beautiful.
My gosh! My goodness! Hello, guys.
Hi.
I'm so excited.
Fantastic. This is awesome. Okay, we're really happy to have you come on and with your question. So if you want to go ahead and ask Dušan, go for it.
Of course, Dušan, I was so inspired by your talk. It was brilliant. What you were saying, it was really relating to what I have been through. I have a change of career a while ago. So I left law. So I was a lawyer before and decided to become an interior designer. But back in 2010, I started to learn 3Ds. And only about 3 weeks ago, I've become much better with my renders and creating my renders, but then realized and all of a sudden there was that little bit more I could actually do, and decided to download Cinema 4D. But I was wondering, you were talking about good resources to learn from. But I was wondering if there was one in particular I could use or you could perhaps recommend, because I'm very ignorant. I really don't know where to start. It's on my computer, but I don't know where to start. But I've got a lot of creativity, but there is it. So could you help with that first question? And I've got a second one very quickly, if I may.
So there's a ton of them. And actually, it is an issue to find the right resources, good resources, because there's so many of them. I remember back in the day, Grayscale Gorilla had really, really good tutorials, and they're still valid for Cinema 4D. They're still very good. So you should definitely try those. And maybe you could try different ones. Try watching different tutorials on YouTube, the free ones.
Yes.
And see which one worked best for you. Do some research. But yeah, that's I think that's all I can give you.
So YouTube is probably the best way to go, and then do a bit of research from there.
Sure. To get really the basics, then there's a lot of platforms that have tutorials that are not for free, but you also have like a couple of tutorials that are for free, so you can check them out. If you like them, you can then subscribe to their channel.
Fantastic. And then one more question.
Okay.
Which one is the best render engine to go with Cinema 4?
That's a tough question. I can't answer that, but I really enjoy Redshift lately. It's also part of Maxon, so they're developing it very quickly. I enjoy it a lot, but I use a lot of renderers for different projects. But yeah, maybe you should start with the basic Cinema 4D standard renderer before you start buying third-party plugins.
Oh, you're brilliant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the
Also,
questions.
Ilaria, let me just add, because Dušan is extremely humble and he will never tell you. He's got a Patreon channel with a lot of good tutorials. And that's also a very nice place where, you know, you spend like $10 a month, you support him, and you will learn stuff. I've done it myself as well in the past when I was trying to learn Octane. And now I'm learning Blender, you know?
I've tried that as well.
Thank you very much.
Dušan, you should make Blender tutorials.
Ilaria, I also want to
thanks, Fabio.
I know you asked Dušan the question, but I also wanted to add just something really quick that I think one of the best things to do is to, you know, if you learn the basics of how you build materials and how that works and how this is going to happen, because then you can kind of apply that to different rendering engines, and you can then decide yourself which one you like the best in terms of how it works. Because it's going to be with the materials and the lighting. Once you have the concepts, you're good. You know, you can continue, then you can do more experimentation.
Because I'm currently using one particular engine, rendering engine, and there are some issues with it. And I was wondering whether to switch to V-Ray or Corona. But at the same time, it's an investment. That's why I was thinking you guys are the gurus and I look up to you. So if you could give me a hint, I would really appreciate it. But I understand.
I'm just telling you things that I've heard other people say.
You are a star. Thank you,
so
Jason.
Dušan, no, I thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
So we're gonna.
Pleasure.
I'm gonna. It sounds so bad. I'm gonna kick you out, but that's not. but thank you so much for dropping by. It's really amazing.
Pleasure.
Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Dušan, don't go anywhere so that we can say goodbye one more time. We're going to mute ourselves. We're gonna set up the next speaker. Guys, don't go anywhere. We're gonna hang out for a couple of minutes, and the next speaker is coming right up. So thanks a lot, and give us 5 minutes.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Minutes.
I guess we're live. J-Man, what did you think about the talk of Dušan?
Oh, it's always. I've seen Dušan talk, I think 3 times now, and it's always good. He has such an attention for detail, and I love the fact that he is working at home in a very small town, you know, and sees his family. It's just fantastic. For now it's like normal. But
I love
when
how
he was doing it before,
humble, yet successful he is. And one thing that I really almost envy, but in a good way, is the fact that when I talk to him, I really do feel that he's happy, you know, and accomplished in what he does.
Yeah.
And so I think this is the charming thing about him when he speaks and when he presents, you know. And I'm so happy that we had the chance to have him at the D2, and that we were a little bit the part of his journey also. But anyway,
definitely.
Are we ready to introduce the next speaker?
Yes, it's no.
All right.
Okay.
I'm dying here.
No, don't say anything. All right.
It's all good. It's all good.
It's okay, man. It's supposed to be like this.
So now we know it's a woman.
Wait, it's 2020. Don't say that. That can get you in trouble.
Oh, come on.
All right, guys. So the next speaker is an Italian artist and architect based in Paris, where she works for Luxigon, one of the most prestigious names in the field of architectural imagery. She was one of the artists that impressed us the most during some of the rendering competitions that we have organized during the lockdown, and that saw hundreds of artists from all over the world participating with their beautiful images. Her name is Maria Vittoria Porro, aka Mavi. She won one of the competitions, and we also invited her to participate as a judge in one of our live streams. She's here thanks to the generous support of our friends at Autodesk. Mavi, the virtual stage is yours. We're pleased to have you here.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. I want to
Absolutely.
start by really thanking you, Fabio and Jason, as well as Nancy and Bruno and all the Autodesk team for inviting me. As you can imagine, I'm a little bit nervous because speaking after Dušan and Britta is not easy. It's like playing after the Beatles. So please have mercy. Thank you. So I will start by sharing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me get that set up.
Oh. It's all set.
You are ready
you
to
can
go.
See it,
We're
right?
gonna disappear
So
now.
I'm going to
Hi, guys.
hand the stage to you, and I'm going to mute so you can't hear me saying stupid things in the background. So please continue,
Perfect.
and we look forward to it.
Thank you. See you at the end. So hello, everyone. My name is Maria Vittoria Porro, aka My Visualizer. And I'm a visual designer in Luxigon since almost 1 year. So I think about myself as 1-year-old visualizer because I actually started being a visualizer when I started in Luxigon. So I'm sorry for that, but I have to do a little bit of recap about my life. It will be short and it will be painless. So I want to start by sharing this drawing that I found in my house. I was 4 years old. It was 1991. And it's fun how, destiny works sometimes because as I can see is that I was really planning my really first render farm here. I mean, there is a chair in the middle and all of this DR surrounding me, maybe some graphic card or motherboarding. But it's like, I want to show you that I really was a blooming nerd since I was 4. So destiny is really fun for me. I grew up in Vicenza. It's a very small city in north of Italy. And from the very first beginning, I was very attached to art. Luckily, my dad has a works that is art related. So since I was very young, I used to go to museums and being very curious and attached by art and by masterpieces and sculpting, etc. So when I had to choose my path, my high school, I went for an artistic high school. And the lesson over there were like, there were a ton of humanistic lessons, as well as painting, sculpting, architecture. But my love for architecture didn't bloom like during the architectural lessons, but it starts with photography. We had a lab, a photography lab back in high school, with a very proper dark room with all the red lights and all the acids where you could print out all your photos. And I started with my Pentax analogic one, so nothing digital. And I started being curious about architecture and like all the frame, all the cameras, all the focal. So this really made me curious about architecture, and I decided to go for an architecture university. So I moved to Venice. You have in Venice, it was a very tough period, 5 years of sufferance, really. It was really painful, but back in Venice at the time, the alcohol was incredible because for €1.50, you could have a spritz. So I was basically drunk most of the time. So 5 years flew away. I managed to have my degree drunk, but it was an achievement as well. And I decided to stay in Venice for a while. I worked in Venice, and but you know, the situation in Italy back in times and nowadays is almost the same. It wasn't so easy. It was really tough because I worked almost for 1 year pro bono. So no salary, nothing at all, no contract, nothing. So I said to myself, okay, if I want to be a little bit independent, I have to go abroad. So I started applying in a bunch of cities, different cities in Europe and abroad. And I managed to have a job in Dubai. I packed my stuff, I kissed my mom, and I went. That's it. Over there, I worked for a very big firm. It was a corporate, actually. We were almost 250 people, so it was very big, and it was very well organized. I mean, there were the Department of Architecture, the Department of Landscape, of Interior Design, of Engineer, as well as the Department of Visualization. So it was the first time for me, like having an approach with a visualization department. And it was a very, very good period, not just for the salary, that was very good, but because people over there were really amazing, the nicest people that I ever met. They were all ready to help me out. I was the only female of the architectural department and the only Western. So it was intimidating at the beginning, but then they were just so supportive and they taught me a lot. And they taught me a method as well. Over there, actually, you organize your work and you design your composition of an house, of an elevation, of a section, always starting by the golden section. I will not explain to you what's the golden section, but it's a principle that helps me out in a very good way, and I still do. I'm carrying this teachment with me, even when I have to, I don't know, starting doing an image, a composition as well, and it's a very good tool, this one. And another thing that was important for me in Dubai was that the visualization department was actually beside the pantry. And I used to drink a lot of coffee and warm up my lunchbox and everything. So I started to staring at the screen of the visualizer, and I was impressed by how they were managing to do incredible images using 3ds Max. And I was pretty good in 3D at the time. I was doing all the architecture in Revit and Rhino and ArchiCAD, but 3ds Max was something different, something totally that blew up my mind. It was something that I didn't know and I want to know better. So I started asking a bunch of questions. I was really annoying with them because they were just, leave us alone, we have to work, but I was blah, 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 blah. So they gave me some tutorial to watch. So I started watching tutorial of 3ds Max and I said, well, this is a nightmare. I can't. What's that? Is something totally different from Revit or ArchiCAD or Rhino. I can't do it. I can't do it alone. So I gave up. After a while, I decided to go back to Italy, in Milan. In Milan, I found a job that was more retail related, so not really my cup of tea. But the boss asked me to do some images for that. So it was my very first commission in an architectural field about images. And I was so excited. I started with Cinema 4D and V-Ray. If you are Italian and if you are an architect, you know what I mean when actually everybody passed by Angelo Ferretti at some point. that is an incredible visualizer that put in YouTube a lot of tutorials of Cinema 4D. So I started with them, with Cinema 4D and Angelo Ferretti. The images were horrible, hideous. I will not show you, but there were like the first hint for me of what makes me happy in life, and it's doing images. So I said, okay, that's what I want to do as my job. So I say to myself, okay, I can't do it alone. I can't manage to know everything alone. So I will go back to Venice and attend the MADI. And I did. It was a 1 year, incredible year with a lot of professors that were really, really prepared and really talented. A lot of students really talented as well. I was surrounded by nerds. It was really my environment. So, and for the first time, there was this professor, Alessandro De Anna, that managed to teach me 3ds Max. Finally, I knew how to use 3ds Max. So I was very happy. And when it came to decide the internship, I just wondered. I asked myself, okay, where I want to do, where I want to be. I want to go in the Alessandro De Anna studio, my professor, because he was really, really prepared. So I asked him. He said yes. He said, okay, my studio is in Udine. Do you know Udine? Yes, I know Udine. Udine is a city 2 hours by train in Venice. The only problem was that I had a 6-year relationship with my ex-boyfriend over there. So I knew very well Udine, and I was a little bit, I really want to go in a city where there is my ex-boyfriend. But then I thought, okay, it's a big city as well. What are the odds to cross him, right? So I said, okay, I will go. And the very first day of my very first start, when I first started in Alessandro De Anna office, I figured out that in the very same building, I was working at the ground floor, and in the very same building at the 3rd floor, my ex-boyfriend moved with his brand new girlfriend. It was, why, God, why? But that's okay, because for the first time, I said to myself, okay, this is my passion, this is something that I want to do. And I want to do it with this professor because he's very good and he's teaching me a lot. And I know that this will be my life career. So I don't care. The walls are thick, so who cares? I want to do it. So I managed to stay there for 3 months, and that were very good 3 months. And then I said, okay, now it's time to move. It's time to move. I decided to go to Paris, of course. To Paris because I felt in love. I felt in love of a man, and I felt in love of a studio. Luxigon, it was really my first reference back in school for me, doing Photoshop, shitty Photoshop and collage and everything. So it was my aim. It was, I really want to work for these guys. So I checked their website, and this was the caption. Want to join the team? Want to give a try at the deadliest job? If you think you are brave enough, please send resume and portfolio at blah, blah, blah. A little bit intimidating, no? It was, no, I can't. I'm new. I'm just a student that managed to finish the master. I'm not prepared for them at all. So I said, okay, maybe this is not the right time. I will press pause and I will start looking for another job. So I just sent a bunch of CV, and I managed to have a job in an architectural studio. That was good for me because I wasn't really sure to quit for good architecture. So I said, okay, I will go in an architectural studio. I will do some architecture as well as visualization. I was hired as a visualizer, but I said, okay, I want to be related to architecture because I'm not sure, So I don't know if you're familiar with visualizer that works in an architectural studio. I am. I did it for 2 years and a half. And what is my suggestion is just don't do it. It's something that it's a nightmare. So basically that was my life for 2 years and a half. It was that. To sum up in a photos, it was that. So I will use a term now that is very French and is charrette. I don't know if you're familiar with this term. Basically, charrette is the cart. And it means a period of intense work typically undertaken in order to meet a deadline. So basically the worst overtime ever, really. So my life was charrette. I started doing 4, maybe 6 images every 2 days. Every week I did like 10 images. It was really, really tough. You start not going home, staying there just until 4 a.m. in the morning. Your computer is crashing, and you start eating junk food. You start having like a tons of remarks from your architect, your co-workers. Basically, they become your war friend. I was lucky that they were cool, but really it was a nightmare. You start eating junk food, you start putting so much overweight, like 10 or 15 kilos, because who has time for the gym? So you don't have time for a shower, you don't have time for eating a salad or to just being with your boyfriend. You are in charrette. That is the charrette for 2 years and a half. So at the end, your brain crash, your computer crash, and you are like, okay, I can't even. So I decided to quit. And luckily for me, my passion was still there. I mean, after all these years, I was, okay, this is what is good in my life. I love doing images. I love, maybe not in a stress like that, but I love it. I love doing images. So I think that this is the time. This is the time for me to finally apply to Luxigon. So I prepared an email. I wrote basically, I am ready for you. I'm ready to take your challenge. I will not disappoint you. I'm a tough girl, because I was a tough girl. So 2 hours later, I had a response. And the very next Monday, I had my interview with Monsieur Eric de Broche. And the interview went by. We receive daily much better portfolio than yours, but your email is what we need, so let me ask you some questions. I said, okay, yeah, sure. Do you smoke? Just electronic cigarette. Are you annoyed if somebody smokes beside you? Doesn't bother me. Welcome to Luxigon. There is a ping pong table over there. And that was the beginning of my dream job. So, okay, this chapter is where I was, where I am, and what's my aim. So basically, from where I was before starting in Luxigon to what I am, there is like an improvement. An improvement that I'm really proud of. That improvement. It's something that shows me that, okay, I'm really, really far away from for what's my aim, but it's still something, it's still a path, it's still a journey, and is increasing. So I'm happy. So I will start from where I was. Basically, where I was, it was just a matter of quantity. I didn't have any time for post-production. I didn't have any time for loving and respecting the image. I didn't have any time for taking a shower. So can you imagine? It was like work. I started doing images for one project, knowing that the very the very morning after, the project will completely change. So I have to redo stuff again and again and again and again. And it was a circle that really makes you crazy at some point. So what's my aim? It's, all of them. I mean, it's basically the wall of fame for everybody. When you start realizing that you want to be a visualizer, you start you're starting from them, looking at their images, and the only thing that you wonder is how, why, when, how they managed to do that. I don't know. It's impossible. But at the end, it's like you realize that this takes years. This takes probably 10 years, 15 years. This takes like a lot of mind altogether, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of sufferance, a lot of happiness as well, a lot of achievement. And the only thing that you can do is like roll your sleeve up, slap yourself in the face, maybe drink the 7th coffee of the day and start doing a lot of mistakes and never stop doing them. Start obtaining maybe some achievement, but you have to keep doing it. You don't have to, I mean, you can't say to you any excuses. You have to do your job. You have to stay inside, maybe during the weekends. You have to do overnight in order to find out how to do this material and how to achieve this kind of light. It's just your passion that is burning inside of you. So just do it. Just start somewhere, somehow. You have to start. So where I am is probably a state of mind. So basically, when I'm looking of where I was and what's my aim, I feel like okay, I have to change my job. But no, because if you have passion, you have to take the plunge to go. So where I am is actually a matter of style, and it's not a technical style that I will show you. It's more like it's not technical, it's not color palette, it's not atmosphere. It's more like a storytelling. So I figured out that all my works that I did to myself. Spoiler alert, they are not architectural related. Is something totally different, because these are my work, not for clients, for nobody, just mine. So finding my style was really a matter of storytelling. And I categorize all the 3 big categories for me with that. So the first one is oh, the second one is what the fork, and the third one is haha. So starting by O is a category I grew fond. It was maybe these are part of my really first works. And O category is a category of experimentation. The 95% of the time, I wasn't absolutely sure what I was doing. It was really, I know that is a very it's a default for a visualizer, do not have a plan, but I didn't have a plan. I was just starting with a blank scene and saying to myself, okay, today I will do an image. I don't know what, I don't know how, but I will do an image. And eventually it will end with something, maybe something good, maybe something bad, but it will end with something, and I will learn something from that. So, for example, this image, it's pretty recent, but it's the perfect example. It starts as a like field, like farmy field, country image. I was thinking about like, okay, let's put some tall tall grass in the foreground, maybe some farm, some cows at sunset, something like that. But then I say to myself, okay, it's nice to put maybe a lake in the foreground and maybe some rocks. And then, oh, but Corona 5 has the caustic, so let's try the caustic. I never tried the caustic, so let's try it. And you know, in a blink of an eye, the image completely changed. So it's something, and then I spend a lot of time modeling a starfish that it's barely visible, and some sea urchins and some shells, and it completely changed. So, you know, when you don't have a method, doesn't mean that is wrong. Maybe it's just part of a journey, part of development, part of experimentation. This image is actually pretty old, because this actually stuffed rabbit, it was my very first image that I did. It was the first time for me with Corona scatter. It was the first time for me with poly modeling. So I really grew fond of this, because it was my first hint of what is it was becoming like a style for me. Okay, these are some illustrations. This is not rendering, but I wanted to show you because okay, I have to do like it was during the lockdown. During the lockdown, for me, it was very difficult because I was very far away from my family. I was in Paris and my family in Italy, and the situation in Italy wasn't good at all. I have two sisters. We are very close, and one of the sisters has a 2-year-old baby girl, so my niece. And I can't see my niece. I can't see her growing up. I can't see her smiling. She's very sassy, very quirky, very cheeky. I love her. So I said, okay, I will create some sort of fairy tale for her. And it's just, you know, fairy tale without princess. I hate princess. So for me, it was the first time for me dealing with digital painting. So basically, digital painting is like painting, but you don't have all the automatism that you have in 3ds Max. So you don't have a Corona Sun, you don't have a material editor. If you want to do a reflective material, you don't have an EOR or a glossiness. You just have one brush, 1,000 of shape of this brush, a blank canvas, a million of colors, and your imagination. And that's all. Maybe some references. References are good. But that's all. It's like no cheating. So when you start doing some digital painting, it's a very good exercise for you, because you don't have any layers that helps you in post-production. You don't have, you have just yourself and your pen. And that's all. It's like painting. So it was something that really reminds me when I was back in school, in high school, and I loved doing that. They are not super good, but still, it's a good exercise for you if you wanna, you know, think a little bit out of the box, and just improving some new skills, and you start to like raising a question that normally you don't, like how can I paint direct light and indirect light, where the light bounce in colored elements, how I can manage to like create like the shadow of that color. You start asking this question that normally with 3ds Max it's all like it's automatic. You just have to press render. That's all. So the second category, actually, it's what the fork, and it was born during the render challenge with Fabio and Jason. For whom doesn't know what is the render challenge, is basically they give you 7 days to do, in order to do an image, they give you a theme or a prop or a 3D model, and you have to do one or more images. So what the fork? It was a really good experiment for me because it's very references related. So, for example, for The Spaceman, I was rewatching during the lockdown the TV series Twin Peaks. Twin Peaks is a very good reference for most of my works. But this in particular, I was rewatching the third season, and every time that I watch Twin Peaks, I have a bunch of questions and I don't have answers. Really, I don't have. So I say to myself, okay, I will stick with a strong storytelling because in terms of technique in this render, there is nothing like incredible. It's very simple. But I wanted to be this image. I wanted this image to be like where you're staring at something and you bounce all around the image, and you don't have, you are asking yourself about a bunch of questions, and you don't have an answer. So it's like, what the fuck is going on here? I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's like, if you want to give me an answer, be my guest, but I don't have it. So one other things that I love, okay, I'm very into monsters. So one other things that I love is creating something like very like a familiar environment and putting something very weird that is like, why you did that? It's very awkward. It's not so good. I'm a little bit. I don't like it. But I still like it. It's kind of cute. It's kind of creepy, and I don't know what is going on. So this is like the water fork that I mean. And this category, these monsters are part of a collection that I started during the render challenge, and I will continue. So maybe next month I will do some two images. So. But yeah, I will finish with the last category that I have. It's haha. And haha, it's a category that, of course, irony is a very good part of my life. I love irony, and I love everything that is ironic. So basically, normally when I'm modeling or when I'm rendering, I listen to music as like everybody. But usually what I do when I'm feeling blue, or I'm like not in a very good mood, or maybe it's just night and I'm feeling a little bit alone and I have to cheer me up, is re-listening, not rewatching, because normally I re-listening at some TV series that I have watched thousands of times. And this affects my work a lot. So basically for these two images, one was the digital fashion challenge. The other one was the Lego challenge. Digital fashion, I know nothing about digital fashion. I know nothing about fashion. I don't know how to use Marvelous, and 7 days are not enough for me in order to manage to learn this software. So what I did, it was, okay, I will be somehow creative, but in an ironic way. I will say a storytelling that has nothing to do with digital fashion, and I don't care, because I really want to do an image. And the Lego challenge as well. Both of them, I was listening to some episode of The Office. I love The Office, and when I'm in a blue mood, I just listen to The Office, and it cheers me up in an incredible way. So it's not really The Office related. There is nothing as reference that you can take as The Office references, but it's just the way that makes me laugh every time, that affect my work. So it's something that so all the references are very important. could be music, could be books, could be travels or theater pieces. It doesn't matter. Could be other renders, it could be photographies, but it's something that I carry with me, and it's very important because all of them affected my mood a lot, and affected also my way of modeling, my way of wondering how it's to like is fun in that way, how is colored in that way. So it's very good once in a while to rewatch all the stuff that makes you cry, makes you laugh, makes you depressed, makes you crying. It's very good. So I started by saying that my aim was the Wall of Fame, and it still is. Of course, they are incredible. But I have to say that in the past year, so the year that I consider myself as a visualizer, my aim is a little bit changed. And I have to thank you, Lisa Della Dora, because during these years and during this month of lockdown, she managed to gather all of the 3D artists, Italian 3D artists, all together, and she allows us to know each other. So I have to say that all these guys, these are just maybe 10% of the Italian references that I have. But I have to say that thank you, Lisa, because I don't know if you're listening, but thank you, because I just discovered tons of incredible and talented artists that are maybe my same age, maybe younger than me, and they are all just incredible. I mean, every time that I start a new image, I take them as references most of the time, because it's incredible to see how the Italian archivists is growing, and how they are so passionate, and how they are so responsive, and so they are bonding as well. So thank you, guys. I will finish with some humble advices, very humble advices for 1-year-old visualizer. So the first one is passion. You can't go anywhere without passion in a visualization field. Really, you can't go. Despite the fear of failure, or despite the competitive environment, or even facing challenges and judgment. Despite that, it's very important to facing challenges and judgments, because this is like what grows, like you can grow up with that. So it's very important. And despite, above all, the shitty ex-boyfriend, if you have passion, you can go very far. I am just a 1% of my path, but I know that if I have passion, I can go anywhere. So guys, have passion. And the second but not least is don't be afraid to ask. I just discovered that working in an environment with a lot of visualizer is teaching me a lot. So whenever I have the chance of asking questions, whenever I have the chance, but not just my coworkers, I mean all like in Facebook, Instagram, websites, if you want to know, just ask, because there are tons of people that are ready to help you out. I know, because I did it. They are ready to help you out with softwares or just compositions and stuff. So don't be afraid, just ask. And I know that it seems a little bit cheesy. I am a cheesy person, a little bit, but I have really had to thank you, my team, because I figured out that I started to be a visualizer with them, not before, but just when I started working in Luxigon. So thank you, guys. Everybody, really, you are amazing. And of course, thank you, D2 and Autodesk as well. Thank you.
Maria, thank you so much.
Mavi,
this was a great presentation.
Can you imagine that?
So hold on, Fabio. Can you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah, of course.
If you're done. If you're not done, you can keep doing it.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I don't know how much time I spoke.
I think it was
40
just
minutes.
about 45. Yeah. So Fabio, sorry. Fabio had something he wanted to say.
Can you imagine that when we first started to talk about you speaking at the D2 online, you told me that you were not good enough to speak?
I am not good. After Britta and Dušan, no, I am not. Sorry.
I can tell you that people in the comments are getting crazy and they loved your story, they loved your presentation. And I think, it was very moving and inspiring, and I think that this is what people need to hear, because, sometimes we just focus on the work, we just focus on the image, we just focus on the little trick, on the little thing that can make your image better, but we forget about the human side of this industry.
It's very important.
And stories like yours, they remind us of what it takes to become a person that works in the field of architecture visualization. Jason, anything that you want to add to?
Yeah, Mavi, I actually did a little bit of work with Luxagon for a little while, and I have to say that it is a really interesting place. I didn't work in the office, unfortunately, in Paris. I think that would have been a much better experience. But I know that that can be a bit of a crazy place, and it's probably like getting thrown right into the fire, But I also wanted to say that I love that I discovered your work and got to know you because of the challenges that Fabio was doing, and that the fact that I was like the longest tenured judge on the panel. I just happened to be there every week, which was really nice. I had a really good time doing that. But I wanted to say thank you for being a part of that. And submitting so many amazing images. We really enjoyed it.
But thank you to you guys, because I really get to know myself during these challenges. So really, it was thanks to you that I managed to find my own style and start improving a little bit myself. It's good to keep a step aside of architecture sometimes. It's very good.
Yeah, definitely. It did seem like a good way for people to explore like other things and other ideas. So Fabio, do we have any questions? Was there any questions specifically?
Nothing on the email. We are trying to get our Discord running, but unfortunately, we were trying to fix a lot other issues.
Yeah.
So tomorrow we're gonna try and get the Discord also available, and we're gonna try and read and see if there are questions also there. So I apologize for that. I just want to remind people that, this was only day one of this conference, and you still have 4 more days of content that is going to be just as good as this one. And so I'm very excited for what tomorrow is going to bring. Maybe people from home might have a guess of who's going to speak.
I don't know.
Just write it in the comments. You're not allowed to share this with anybody.
No. I will not share, but I know.
I would like to see if people want to, take a guess. Maybe write it in the comments, and maybe we'll get inspiration for who we're going to invite next. Who knows?
But I have to say that we are super proud of like the people that we gathered together, and that's including everyone who was here today. In the lineup for this online version of the D2, and like the generosity of the people, to take the time out to do this, and we are just very appreciative of that. I also wanted to note that tomorrow we cannot do this stuff that we're doing, especially this year, without the help of our sponsors. And this is a good example. Autodesk supported this talk, which is fantastic.
But also, without the help of those who donated their tickets to us. We were very surprised when we started to refund the tickets. People were like, you know what, just keep the money. we'll see each other next year. We did not ask them to do that. We were so moved by that we said, okay, if we're going to do something for the community, then we're not going to charge any money. We'll just do it.
And I was going somewhere with that. It was
Sorry,
like a segue. It was like a segue into the fact that one of the things that we can do this year, which was not so easy to do at our, in our live venue, was that we will be able to have a few. So we're calling them mini workshops. And tomorrow there will be at 3 o'clock Central European Standard Time. For 2 hours there will be an Unreal Engine workshop. And it will be led by Fabrice Borelli, who is a very well-known guy and a very, very talented artist in the ArtViz area with Unreal Engine. So please stop by. We would love to have your support for this as well. I'm sure there are a lot of people interested in it.
And it's free.
It's free. You just come to the channel. We'll be here. We're going to be here the whole week. We'll be here the whole week.
And then we can hang out.
Mavi, your talk was really fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's very funny, very
Thank you, Jason.
personal, which I really
I was
like.
so scared.
No, you did a really fantastic job.
Martin is asking for me to show my shorts again.
Ah, yeah.
Why are you showing your butt? You get it like the whole view there.
My butt is sexier. Sexier than the front part. So Martin, yeah, that was specifically for you.
So, Mavi, I think we're gonna since we didn't have any very specific questions for you, I'm gonna thank you and say really appreciate you being here again. And
thank you
for your
guys
talk.
for really. Thank you.
And so I'm going to leave the stream now with you, and we're going to, wrap up today. But thanks again. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Bye, good night. And
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for being here. And I also want to thank all of you guys for watching tonight. It was a pleasure spending these 3 hours together. We will see each other tomorrow at 3 for the workshop. And then we're going to start again with another 3 hours of super interesting content tomorrow evening at 6 Vienna time. So Central European
Standard Time.
Standardized time for Vienna.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, is that it? Are we gonna shut this thing down? Okay, let's shut this down. I think that's the best way to do it. Tomorrow we're hoping to start fresh again, and everything's gonna be beautiful and perfect tomorrow. So we will
make even more mistakes. Good night, everybody. Thanks a lot for watching.
Bye bye.
And see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye bye.